Hello everyone and welcome to a tutorial on RPG Developer Bakin. Today I'm going to show you how to use the new action battle system I've come up with. It does use a couple peripherals and everything, and I'll show you how to work them. This will be a multiple part series. It's going to start with just the basics today. And then there'll be other videos down the line, probably in the next week or so, for projectiles and bombs and whatnot. So yeah, let's get started. So to start, you're going to have your hero player. It can be anything you want. And then we're going to make a new cast. It'll be enemy. We're going to be using 2D today. These steps work just fine for 3D. You just might have to tweak it just a little bit. So to start, let's go into our enemy event. Going down the line, the first page, event page, is going to be your default motion. This is going to be pretty much your weights. You don't need to make an actual condition for weight because this should be like their default motion. You want to make sure they're colliding with the player and colliding with other events. You can set their motion here if you have different kind of weight. You can set that here if you'd like. Then we go down to, and make sure that you have a local variable for the dead switch. Make sure it is off. When we go down to walk, pretty much the same thing as default motion, but we need to have it so where if we're walking, we need to turn this switch on. And if we're not dead, this switch needs to be off. And if we're not attacking, if we're attacking, this needs to be off too for us to walk, because we don't want to walk and attack. So same thing, collide with player, collide with other events. Set your motion down here for attack. So when it comes to the non-parallel pages, these are all going to be your motions. It's good practice to do this because you won't break your animations this way. This includes with 3D. It's not so bad with 2D, but when it comes to 3D, your animations can break really, really quickly. All right. So we have our dead switch again. Anytime you make any sort of non-parallel page, actually pretty much any page that's not dead, you're going to want to make sure its event switch is dead. So this is telling the game that, okay, we're alive. This event is alive and it's not dead. And this event is not walking, but the attacking switch is on. So we can show the animation. So same with the dead. This is when your HP, the enemy's HP is equal to 0. We'll turn the local switch dead on. You can wait as long as you like. I usually wait like about a second, maybe a little bit longer. You'll see what this is in a minute. We're going to delete the image because we're showing the HP, and then you're going to want to delete the event. Also, it's very important that you make sure that the collide with player and collide with other events is off, so that way you don't run into them. All right, so this is a little bit, it's a little bit to take in if you're not new to variables and such. So bear with me. Yet again, like I said, from here all the way down, we're going to make sure that the dead switch is off, so that way no calculations are done when it's dead. So going from the top down, we have assign player attack. So player attack name is equal to player attack. So we're setting the player attack name to player attack because what it's doing is checking for this, which is going to handle our distance checking for the player's attack. So go back to here, go back to distance. So when we go to here, so this is a C# script that was made by Sana. You'll see this damage numbers right here. You won't get this just yet. It's not public just yet. You're just only going to see it in the video. But everything else here you will get. Anyways, so Sana, one of the great members of the Japanese RPG Developer Bakin community, made a bunch of great functions for casts. Usually, you would have to set the event ets, the party at the player ets, and then you'd have to do the calculations yourself. He has it all to where it's automated, and all you have to do is set it into a variable. So with here, you have to, even though we're doing 2D, we have to use 3D because for some reason it won't return the proper value if you use 2D when you're doing this way. All right, so what this is distance 3D event to event. So the event name is attack name right up here, P attack, and then we're sending it to the distance to player attack, which is what I have here. So you do that, okay, and then the next one would be the 3D. So this is calculating the event from the player, the event distance from the player to the event. So we're going to put that into the distance to player variable. All right, and then the normalized 3D. So what this is just the distance of x between the player and the event when it's 0 or more, or in my case, the event to player. You want to use event to player when you're moving, because you want it to start fast and then go slow. So if you wanted to make the move fast and then slow, you would use a player to this event. So we're going to put that variable into the norm x. Same for the z. The exact same thing. Now here is, you don't have to do it this way. You can just multiply 25 by each. But I do it this way, so that way later on, if I wanted to, I could stop their speed altogether instead of having to come back in here and making conditions. With the speed already set, you can change it later on. And once you multiply the speed, because we're using physics, you're going to assign the normal x to the move x. Same for the z. So when we go to motion conditions, you'll see again, we have the event switch is dead. And then we're repeating in parallel. So when distance to player, which is from here. So distance to player, this is saying how far this event or the player is to this event. So we'll go back to here. Is greater than 1, meaning we're not pretty much right next to it. We're going to turn the walk switch on, and that's going to turn the animation on. Oops, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then we're going to move with physics, the event. We're going to move the event with physics engine, and we're going to move it by the x and by the z. Now, if it's not greater than 1, we're just going to turn the walk off. What this is like, it's pretty much saying else if you're familiar with programming. No is just else if. Instead of having to do another condition saying if is greater or not greater than 1, then this, but that's pretty much what that is. All right. So this is very important too. You don't have to have it right away, but when it comes to movement, it's very important for the event to always look at the player so it can see or it can move towards the player. There are multiple functions that he set up. So let's see. So he has look away from player. You can walk around. It can kind of just move forward and just move around if you want to. You can set up an all motion. But what we're doing here is saying the player's distance is greater than 1. So if it's greater than 1, we need to move to the player. This is just set up for temporary, just so it's still going to look at the player no matter what the condition is. I just want to set that up for now. But if you want to, you can make it like, if it's less than 1, you can make it so where they wander around, or like certain distances, you can make them wander around. It's all up to you. All right. So show HP. This is just, you don't even really need this. This is just kind of just show you how it's all working. It's more for debug purposes if you wanted to. Yet again, we're going to have the event switch is dead. We're going to assign the x coordinate on the screen of this event to x as well as the y. And then we need to add to both of them to move them to the proper position. Once you do that, you're going to use your enemy number variable. This is when you have multiple enemies. What it does every time you put an enemy onto your map, as soon as it spawns in, it's going to gain a unique number. And that event will have its own unique number until it dies. And even if you were to respawn it, I'll show you what we do in the dead section. You would just subtract the event or the enemy count to what you have, and then the new one would take over that number. Anyways, so here I just have HP, I set a color, and then I have it show the local variable, which was HP, and then I set a size. You don't really have to worry about all this. It's kind of all if you want to. Display position is X and the Y. You can change it to any size you want. All right, so this is where it's going to be a lot of explanation. Okay, so this is how you detect the player's hit, or the enemy detects the player's hit. All right. So what we need to do is, since we can't use floats in a condition, you can use them in the variables, but we can't use them in the conditions. So I don't want it to be exactly 1 or less. I want it to be like, say, 0.5 or less. What you'll do is you'll get a whole number and then you divide it by 2. And that would give you 0.5. So what this is saying is I'm signing the attack length by 1. And then I'm dividing by 2, which gives us 0.5. So when the distance to the player attacked, which is going to be an event that we're going to shoot out, that won't collide with anything, but is it going to shoot out just so it can get coordinates for distance between the enemy and the attack. And then we're going to check if it's less than or equal to the attack length. And if it is, and also if the player attacking is on, which is a switch that generates that will turn on when the event generates. So pretty much saying that, hey, I'm in it, or the attack is on, the event is in it. We're right on top of it. Now, this is very important as well. So this is the attack match melee hit. It can be really anything you really want it to be. This is mainly the amount of times, or the amount of enemies you want it to hit. So right now, this is always going to be greater than 0. When you create the event, I'll show you when we get to that part in a second, that you will set a variable for how many enemies you want to hit on screen at a time. And then when the event dies, it will reset. So, or the generated event gets deleted. It will reset the variable. All right. So I do have another switch here called getting hit. This is so when I'm attacking it, it can't really attack me. I'll show you that as well later in the attack player part. So what this is subtracting the attack max melee hit, which is right here. So say I have 3. It's going to hit one enemy, another enemy, and another enemy, and then no one else can get hit. So that's what this does right here. So you're going to subtract 1 to the attack max melee hit. And this is another Sana function. You can do change color to a RGB plus an FF. Then you have white, red, blue, green. I'm just using red. This will all be included in the zip file that I'm going to include. And then once you change their color, you're going to go over to your damage animation. I'm just doing something quick here, but you would add your own here. Now I put notes. I have a lot. I use notes a lot because they're very, very helpful. So right now we're going to start the damage calculations. What this calculation is, and it's actually really great. So what it's doing, it's checking to see if the player's attack is equal to or greater than the defense. And if it is that, then we're going to, the damage value will be attack times 2 minus the enemy's defense, which is all handled right here. So we're assigning the player to attack, the player attack to damage value. Sorry. We're going to multiply that by 2. Then we're going to subtract the defense to the damage value. You don't have to have a modifier here. I just like to have one because I like having somewhat random numbers. You can do your own sort of modifiers. Like I said, I put little notes here saying your own modifiers here. You'll add the modifier to the damage value. And once everything's all said and done, you're going to subtract the damage value to the HP. Now, this is saying that the player's attack is not equal or greater than the defense. Then what we're going to do, the formula is damage equals attack times attack divided by defense. So that's all taken care of here as well. When you divide, you'll need to round it down. Else you're going to have a decimal. You can have a decimal if you want to. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. But I just like to round it down. Same thing here. We're doing the modifier as well. And after all the calculations are finished, at the end, you're going to want to have a, when the content of the local variable HP is equal to or less than 0, we're going to turn the dead switch on. So once they gain damage, they're going to die. So here, don't really worry about all this. This is kind of the damage numbers that you won't be able to get just right away, unfortunately. Like I said, they will be available in the near future. They just are not public just yet. But ignoring all this, once they're done with the attack, you're going to want to set a wait motion back. You're going to reset the color, and you're going to wait about 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds, and then you're going to turn the getting hit off. All right, so let's go into the player attack event real quick. I'll kind of let you see what's going on. So what we're doing is when I press the B button, it's going to make this event walk in the direction it's facing, which will be the direction the player is facing, 0.8, and then it's going to delete itself. So the beauty about having when generates and when disappears is, so when this event generates, player attacking is on. And so what it's going to do is that switch is on, and it's going to move, and it's going to move it forward X amount of spaces, so 0.8 spaces. And then once it disappears, we're going to reset the attack count. Pretty much it's like an attack tick, or like how many enemies you want to attack at once. So like if you had like 3 or 4 here, you would reset it back to that, and you would be able to hit 4 more enemies. And you want to make sure you turn the player attacking is off. All right, so going back to the enemy. All right, so attack player. Super simple. We're making sure the dead switch is off, and we're making sure that getting hit is off. When distance to player is less than 1, and then this is what you need to have a timer, so that way it's not constantly attacking. So when the start attack timer is off, we're going to assign the 0 to the attack timer, and then we're going to turn attacking to on. This is saying that the event is attacking. We're going to wait about 2 seconds, because that's usually about the length of the animation, and then you're going to duplicate the enemy attack from this event, and then the direction which generating source is facing to by 180. You're going to wait about a second, because you need a little bit of buffer when you're turning switches on and off. You're going to turn attacking off, and then you're going to start the attack timer. So what the attack timer does is, once this switch is on, because once we get to here, this is going to turn on. So what we're doing is we're going to be constantly adding 1 until we can get to 120 or greater. So once it gets to 120 or greater, we're going to assign the attack timer to 120. And then we're going to start the timer, or turn off the start attack timer. And what that'll do is that it'll let the enemy attack again. So it's just one big loop of it attacking. You can set any sort of time you want. I think 120 is okay. You can do really any value you want to. All right, so setup. So this is what happens when the event generates. When your event generates, this is going to be technically your enemy generates. We're going to add 1 to the enemy count that's on the map, and then that value gets assigned to their actual number. So say, for example, I placed, here, there's 1 there. Let me go to AllyCast. Say, for example, I placed 1, 2, 3. So that would be 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, and that would be 4. I won't place it now because it's not the best movement right now for multiple. We'll get into that in the future. But anyway, so yeah, that's what the assigned enemy count to the enemy number is. It makes it pretty much its own entity that we can use for visuals as well. All right, so we are assigned an HP, we assign a defense, and we assign the attack. So go into here. We're going to go into enemies attack. This is what's happening when we are, or when the enemy is shooting that event, that E attack. this is what's happening. And the beauty of this little system is, here, and let's go to when created. So when the event generates, we can actually make this all one event for, if you're doing like say single target and whatnot, you can use this for just one event and just have all the different enemies, shoot it. Because what this is doing, it's getting the name of the event. So right now, all we have is enemy, but if you had multiple type of enemies, you would want to have like, say for example, you had slime or whatnot. So we'll say slime. And then, so the attack tick is how many times it's going to hit in succession. So generally you want to just do one. And then the attack would be the attack value. So yeah, it's like it said, it's super modular, which is awesome, which I was actually really happy about that. I'm glad that we can grab the name of the shooting source. All right, so when destroyed, we're just resetting the attack tick so that once it's destroyed, it can attack us again, and we're going to turn the damage player off. All right, so giving damage is literally the exact same thing as the doing it to the event, but just opposite to the player. So we're assigning 1 to the attack length, same thing, divided by 2, so we're getting 0.5. This is just getting the distance from the player to the e-attacks coordinates. So we're doing that here. Let's see. Same exact thing when the distance to player is equal to or less than... Oh, oops. That's actually my bad. To the attack length. All right. And then when damage player is on, which happens when it's created. So we go back to here. And then when attack tits content is greater than 0, which it is. So it's 1. So we can only get hit by this enemy's attack once. We're going to subtract the attack tit so we can't get hit again. You're going to change the player motion to the damage. You can do that with your 2D event here, or you do whatever you want to do for damage here. Same exact equation. You can use whatever you'd like. It's literally the exact same thing. We're just changing values around. So we're taking the enemy's attack and then taking the player's defense, random numbers as well. And this is just, don't worry about this. This is the damage numbers. All right. So let's go into the common events. Super simple as well. All we have in the button input is just a B button, which is just, literally your B button. Player attack, super simple as well. The beauty of this is you can spam your attack button all you want, but until the event disappears, you won't be able to attack again. That's what this is doing right here. And then it's checking to see if B button is equal to 2, which is a tap. You're going to change the motion to their attack. You're going to wait about a minute, and then we're going to duplicate. We're going to generate the player attack, and it's going to shoot out, and it's going to wait a second, and then we're going to wait. So, and then player HUD, super simple, just display player HP, nothing fancy. This is, okay, so this is your setup event. I actually didn't name it that. So this is where you set up your stats. Right here. It's just only once in parallel. So we're assigning 5 to player attack, we're assigning 15 to player defense, and we don't need this. Oh, wait, hang on. My bad. Okay. Let's change that, actually. We're just going to make it a flat 120. Okay. So as you can see, I'm not using the stats from the database just yet. I'm just kind of getting you used to the regular variables. Throughout this tutorial, I will work over to here because it's a lot easier to kind of database proper. And if you want to use like an actual level system, you can do that as well. But yeah, so let's show you what is going on. All right. So she follows me no matter what. She's going to stop when it's about 1 frame, and then she's going to attack. But I wasn't close enough, so she wasn't able to hit me. So I got to get a little bit closer. See, she hits me. And then her, I can just spam the B button. She has 27 HP left. Hit her. Like I said, it's all about the kind of timing thing. So like, okay, see, now she's dead. All right, so we're gonna reset, and I'm gonna show you what's happening as we're playing. All right, so it's a little hard to see, but you can see I have a collision box, and you see her. Okay, you see her collision box hitting me. It's not actually hitting me, but what it's doing is just grabbing the coordinate information so we can attack each other. Yeah, all right. I think that's about it for this part. Let's see. Got the hero enemy P attack. Yeah. Oh, it's actually very, very important to make sure that all your cast events are allies. For some reason, it can get super finicky when it's none. So I've just been going to ally. It's a lot easier. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.